It's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. And we're in back 2 of this custom creature that I'm showing you how to make out of junk parts. And this is the Arbaq. And we've established a little lore for it. I didn't cover one of those themes up super good, but that doesn't break my heart. So we need a color scheme for the Arbaq. We know that it's a desert type creature, so maybe browns would be appropriate, but it's also got a bird, so it could be attractive in that way. And it's got some monkey parts, or like a gorilla or something. That could be black. So I think what we should do is give it a reddish brown down to a tan, and then do its head in a different, like, bright color. So I'm going to start with chocolate bar, which is like a dark reddish brown. I'm going to get a bigger brush. I'm going to get some of my water. Yes, there's suds in my water, because I always have a little bit of dish soap. I put like a drop of dish soap in before I fill it up with hot water, and that's what I use to rinse. So I'm just going to create something. I can kind of pull over this, and hopefully the way it dries, some of the dark will stick through and some of the light will stick through. That's what I'm hoping. No promises, no guarantees. We could probably do that furry mane thing around his neck in a different color too. Maybe get a cool effect with that. Maybe do that in a white or a yellow. Do the head in a blue or a green, or maybe a bright red, and the beak in a yellow. I don't know. But we got options. It's our made-up creature, so it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. Yep. Maybe you don't even want to do your body in a reddish brown to a tan. You want to do yours in something else. Maybe yours never lived in the desert. Maybe your humps or something serve another purpose. Maybe you carry your young in your humps. I'm not going to go out of my way to get it on the head, but I'm going to try to get in these cracks around the neck. Make a little more. Get underneath them. And I don't really care if I get it on the base. I'm going to come back and paint my base again. But I just want to kind of get it underneath them for sure and get it on the legs. We don't want them to have gray, black legs. And the rest of them be this clever other scheme we're doing. Oh man, look, a shameless plug for Dungeon Swag Miniatures right up there in the corner of the screen. Shameless. Absolutely shameless. A little bit of wet. A little bit of wet there. There we go. Nothing wrong with being a little shameless sometimes. I mean, I'm not a sellout if I own half the company, right? Right. And I owned it before I even started, like, doing what I do. Like, on YouTube. So, it's not like, you know... I mean, I had the YouTube channel, but I used to just, like, try to review cheap miniatures, and then, like, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I quit. So... I still don't know what I'm doing. Who are we kidding, right? If you've been watching, you know I don't know shit about shit. I'm just down here making minis. Alright, so we're going to take... try to act like I know something. Oh, hell. I'm going to wash that brush out. Put that off to the side. I'm going to get the +5 here, hot air gun of burning. Which, hot plus the +2 one I had before didn't make it through the monster manual. It died at the end. If you pay attention, you'll also see that there's a new minor burning hand spell. The old one ran out of charges. So we've had some serious losses on the channel lately. I'm going to get a medium color. This is called nutmeg. No, chestnut. I'm sorry. This is called chestnut. And I'm going to get a soft makeup brush for this. From the Dollar Tree. Look at that. Boom. I'm just going to get the tip in there. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. Okay. I'm just going to drag it around and see what kind of variation in base coat we can create so that this thing will look a little more interesting when we're done with it. Use a little bit more paint. There we go. There, see, we could have covered that up with baking soda. You wouldn't even notice that dot back there on his mold. I didn't notice it either. But if you're watching and doing it after me, you might want to make sure you cover that stuff better. All right, so we're going to have a nice variation in undertone there. It's going to look interesting, I think. Something like that. And then let's come down with a tan. So for my tan, I'm using this color khaki, and I'm going to leave this in the brush, and I'm going to try to just get enough of that to be interesting and not do too much. I just want to lighten them up, but I want it to maintain a little bit of that orangey kind of tint. Okay. So there we go, and that's going to lighten them up good. Look at that. Nice and deserty colored, just the way we like them. We'll make sure we get those arms and that torso good. Lighten those up evenly with the rest of the sculpt. Now, the worst thing about an Arbaq eating you is not that it's eating you, it's that it charges you, holds you down with its powerful primate arms, and then rips chunks of you off with its enormous beak. That's the killer of this thing. We could bring this down one shade lighter, I think. To do that, though, we're going to hit it with the hot air gun real quick. +2 or +5 hot air gun are burning. And I'm going to use yellow. And I'm not cleaning that brush out. Okay. So I'm just going to get a dibby dab of yellow. And let's see if that brings it down at all. It may or may not. Oh, yeah, it does. Just a little subtle bit. So I'm not going to go overboard with that. I'm just going to kind of relax and just touch on the humps and stuff and on the outside of the arms. I'm not going to go overboard and yellow them up. All right, so let's stop with that and get the beige, or the tan back out, the khaki. And what we want to do is we want to get a soft brush, something that's plastic and cheap. And we'll lazy paint the shit out of this. So we want to wipe a lot of that out. Okay. And then we want to lighten up that main part. And it's okay if you get it on the neck. Just try not to get it on the chest and shoulders. Okay. And then we're going to come back with something a little lighter. I'm using this ivory, which is like a yellowy white. Look at that. Just a titty bit of that. Then we're going to just drag it lightly across that texture. Okay. And I'm going to drag that on the tail, which has almost no texture left from the super glue. Okay. I'm going to clean that brush out real quick with my soapy water. And I'm going to get my small brush to do his head. So I haven't decided what color I want to do his head in yet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple blues. I'm going to start with this blue kazoo, and I'm going to make it brighter. This is a fairly bright, or a fairly desaturated mid-tone blue. Not bright, desaturated. So I'm going to get water and not just use saliva. I'm going to get some water. a little bit and dampen that up. Let me get some of that blue. And this is a little desaturated, so I'm not expecting a very vibrant coat initially here. I'm gonna wipe some of that out of my brush. Now, if the eyes aren't visible when I get this painted and dry brushed a little bit, I am not going to paint them, because I think the Arbaq is scarier if it's blind and deaf, and it just uses a natural scent to hunt things that it's been designated to hunt. Maybe not a scent, a feeling, a psychic feeling of what it should be killing or what is edible for it. And since it no longer has directions, the last command it was given before the humans trapped it and maybe an ancient god in the crypt, that last command was to kill all humans. Let's hot air gun burn that, cook that, and dry that paint up. Okay, it's mostly dry. Let's hit it one more time real quick. All right, any kind of soft plastic bristle brush will do for this part. We're going to get a bright blue that has better saturation. I will tell you, I was watching a video. I don't know a lot about color theory and stuff. I know a little bit. I mean, I took some art classes and stuff when I was young, but by the time I was an adult, I realized that that wasn't a paying career in my future, so I kind of didn't think about it much. But I watched a video about saturation, and I did not know this. When you lighten up a color, they have to actually create the pigments to make the light colors the way they are. Trying to lighten them up by adding white and stuff is usually not going to do a good job. It's going to desaturate the color. Now, I didn't know that, and I don't know a lot about how they make paint. I tried some experiments and played with some stuff in the past, and when speed paints first came out, I tried using some different polymer bases and oil bases to see if I could create my own version of speed paint, because the first speed paint that I had was that contrast paint, and it was so expensive. I'm going to set that off to the side and hit this with a hot air gun again. I actually wouldn't mind learning how to make paint, and would like to try to make a nice paint line. Something that's the biggest thing is, the only brand that I like for consistency is Army Painter. And Vallejo or whatever you call it, apparently there's bad guys, so you can't buy their stuff, and I hear it's pretty decent, but can't buy it because they're bad guys. All right, we want to wipe almost all that out of our brush, and we want to come back over all that and lighten that up. Okay, I like my Arbaq so far, and it looks like I can't really see the eyes well, so that means we don't have to paint them. Now, his beak could be orange, but as I'm looking at it, I think it would be better in a dark color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it with pavement, and then I'm going to dry brush it with a lighter gray towards the top, and then when I'm done clear coating him, I'm going to come back and I'm going to gloss it with Mod Podge. Mod Podge really, really thinned out. So pavement is like my favorite color on earth, by the way. I absolutely love pavement. Well, it's my favorite paint color. All right, let's hot air gun this dude. And get that dry brush of gray on there, and then we'll do the base. I'm just going to get a small cheapy brush with plastic bristles. A little bit of light to medium gray. This is called elephant gray. It's somewhere on the lighter side of medium. I'm going to get a tiny bit of that. I'm just going to drag it across the top of that beak lightly. I'm going to hit the outsides of his beak too. We could paint the inside of his beak red or something if we wanted, but I don't see the need for that. There's almost no paint left on here. It's perfect. That's what I wanted. All right, let's do the base. I'm getting dark brown. This is burnt umber from Walmart. And I'm going to get my workhorse brush, that size 3 Doom brush that I saved from the Goodwill. And yes, I know I said he's a desert creature, but I just have gotten into the habit now of basing creatures in like forest. And then I can use them kind of wherever, and that's just the way all the bases look, because that's where the majority of my encounters take place. So if I had to have this guy outside the desert for whatever reason, maybe he's on a long trip or he's hunting them or whatever it may be, it's fine. Speaking of desert terrain, I don't have a good desert mat. I have a forest mat and a swamp mat and just, you know, like a city mat that I made. But I think I would really like to make a desert mat. And I have a welcome mat that I got from the Dollar Tree. So if any of you would actually like me to see me attempt to make a desert mat for my D&D room, by all means, we can try that if people say they're interested. I'm not going to go out of my way to do it right now. I don't plan on my party going to the desert in the immediate future, but if people are like, hey, we need to see how to do that, we'll figure it out together, you know, because I just kind of make stuff, you know. I'm not a super planner or anything. Okay. I'm going to get my pavement back out. I'm going to clean that brush real quick. I'm going to hit everything with all the rocks down here with some pavement. And then we're going to air gun this. And we're getting pretty close now. Okay. +5 hot air gun of burning. Because I know how much you guys like magic items. And you want something kind of like this. And even though this is a foresty kind of base, instead of doing something like I normally would with a medium brown, I'm going straight to a light brown. Okay. And then we'll get some black. So if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, do me a favor. Help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, hitting the notification bell icon, leaving comments. Come to the website, buy some minis if you can. If you can't, that's fine too. No judgment. Not the minis here, not these ones I'm making, but the Dungeon Swag minis. That's the logo there. See that? Shameless plug. We're pretty happy right now with the way Dungeon Swag is going. Obviously, we're not rich, but we're happy and we're proud of our product, and we're proud of the fact that we're selling miniatures against titans like Hasbro and Games Workshop. You know, these people don't care about their employees, and they don't care about the consumer, and they don't care about how much their overhead really is. They just care about that profit margin. You know, they're jacking up the price of plastic, even though their expenses have gone up barely at all. They're jacking their stuff up, and I don't like it. And the quality is not ideal on some of them, like the Nolgers and Deep Cuts and stuff that I've purchased. I've never thought were like spectacular quality miniatures. You know, when Reaper had metal miniatures, I always thought they were decent, but now, like, going up and having the bones, I'm like, oh, these aren't actually that phenomenal. Of course, they're, you know, back then you had to go to like Dark Sword Miniatures or Games Workshop to get like really like hardcore good minis. Clean his brushes out real quick. Let's dry off this black band and put some flock on here. So I usually use like a bright green flock, and that you can do that, but I need something a little less vibrant. So I'm gonna go into my little thing here. This is called Wasted Land. Let me get something to dump that, to do this in so I don't make a big mess. So I'm gonna get my glue, like I always do, just a little bit of super, clear glue. Okay, and a toothpick. And this is just my own flock that I made. It's dark colors and stuff. And it's called Dead Spread. Well, I call it Dead Spread. It's not called anything. I made it. But it's got, wait, let me use Fall Ball. This is a fall colored one. I'm going to use this. Okay. No muss, no fuss, dudes. Alright. I'm going to throw my cardboard away instead of keep it. Because the snarky comments are not funny. I am not so poor. I am poor, but I'm not so poor that I cannot get free cardboard. Alright, so that's what we got there. That's the Arbaq. Now remember what I said. It's a size, it was going to be size medium, but this is a size large creature that has like the body of a camel. It's chimeric. It has the torso of an ape or a chimp. It has the head of a bird. It's a voracious hunter that was created by elder gods to punish people that tried to escape the desert realm. And it could chase them all across the dunes without dehydrating and stuff. And then several of these, along with maybe an ancient god that the humans were trying to escape, were trapped in a temple and left, and it's recently been uncovered. And I think that would work good. And you know what would really be cool is if the temple that was uncovered used to be a desert like thousands of years ago, and now it's a swamp or something instead, or a beach or something, I don't know, or jungle, I don't know. That would be really cool too. So, there's a lot of cool ideas you can work with, and you can put this kind of mob anywhere you wanted to. But I don't know. I like it a lot. I hope you guys like it too. Remember, it's blind. It uses a psychic connection with its targets, which are humans or humanoids, dwarves, elves, whatever. And they're voracious hunters, and they are hard to kill because they are fast and agile, and they have a bonus to initiative to help them go first in combat because they have that precog psychic connection with their victims. So that's how I do it. I will make a short about this with some clip notes on how to run it quickly, and we'll see how that turns out. I really hope you guys like it. This is just extra parts I was not going to do anything else with. I don't know how many camels you ever really need to paint up, and those gorillas are proportioned terribly, and these birds are silly and big. I have a couple of those that I've thought about painting up, and I never did. So here we are, 15 years later, and people have given me some. I had some, and they come in every little package, so it's good use of them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.